Found footage is some of the creepiest stuff that you could possibly imagine, whether it's the famous Croatian tape, some footage that put 2 teens in prison possibly for the rest of their life, or a tape that's said to curse you until you die. We have it all on today's most amazing top 10 list. Coming in number 10, we have the Croatian tape. The thing about found footage is it can easily be staged. There's no way of telling if what you're looking at is made by someone with the intention of freaking you out, or if it was actually the last moments of someone's life caught in a disturbing video. Well, that is what we have on our first point. The Croatian tape is said to be recorded in 2005, and no one has any idea of when it worked its way onto the internet. In the tape, there are 2 young boys who are just walking about late at night, and then they're approached by some strange man. There's a couple things that seem off about this dude. For one, he's stumbling around like he's drunk or disoriented, and 2, he has some sort of canvas bag on his head like he's Jason from the first Friday the 13th movie. First, this guy seems harmless. It seems like maybe he's lost, but then he starts to get aggressive and chase after the boys. They outrun him and make it back to their apartment building, and right when they think that they're safe, they see this in the elevator.
Credit card, yes.
Now, this could have all been staged. I mean, how on earth did this baghead guy make it back to the elevator? But they might have been messing around with something supernatural that tracked them down. Coming in at number 9, we have the Paris catacombs footage. If someone invites you to come down into some catacombs for exploring, just say no. That's not a fun place to be, especially when you're in Paris. Why would you spend your time walking around with a bunch of old bones when you could be eating croissants until you need a forklift to sit upright? Well, in Paris, someone thought it would be a good idea to take a break from gorging on baguettes to look at some rotting bones. This is some of the most terrifying found footage I have ever seen. You have a POV shot of someone walking through this tunnel system. For the most part, everything seems normal, but then they start to panic. I don't know if it's the strange markings all over the walls that starts to freak him out, or maybe he got lost, or maybe he heard something, but it doesn't matter because he just starts running. As he's running, you can tell that he has no idea where he's going, and eventually he drops his camera and makes off into the darkness. Let's take a look at this man's panic.
Are pictures of bones.
The video shows the man exploring, but he soon begins to panic. He runs through the maze of tunnels and his breathing gets heavy. As he is running, you can hear and tell the man is freaking out.
Now, we have no idea why this guy started to panic or what happened to him after. The catacombs are like a maze that go on for miles in every direction, so there's a good chance that he got lost down there and was never seen again, or that whatever he was running away from caught up with him. Coming in at number 8, we have a doorbell cam. There is nothing better than looking through some videos from your doorbell only to find a creeper walking close to your house. What could be worse than that? Well, what about a dude caught in the act of creeping around your house? I'm about to show you a man who was caught wandering around someone's home, and then they came right up to their door and did this.
He proceeds to knock and ring the doorbell.
The owner of this home woke up to a notification coming from their phone that someone was at their door. You know, sometimes I think it's weird that our lives are becoming so automated, but when you see something like this, you would be happy to have a camera on the front of your door. This person kept trying to work their way into the home in one of the strangest attempts I have ever seen. He rings the doorbell and then tries to break in afterwards. The man is probably deranged and had no idea what was going on. Coming in at number 7, we have the mysterious noise. Now, even when found footage doesn't have something that is explicitly creepy about it, like a dude with a bag on his head chasing you down the street, there can be something strange and creepy to it that just leaves a weird feeling in your stomach. That's how people feel about the Paraguayan camcorder footage. It would seem to be some sort of strange home video that has several different scenes spliced together. It follows a group of teens and all the footage is extremely grainy, which makes sense because the footage is apparently from the 90s. But then there comes this noise. You can hear that strange humming in the background. Now, while this is probably some static that was picked up because the recording is on a very old device, some other people think that this could be a curse of sorts. That if you listen to the full tape, it will bring a dark energy into your life as if you were watching the tape from The Ring. Coming in number 6, we have the South Korean ferry incident. Back in 2014, a ferry in South Korea would take on way too many cars and passengers. Now, even though the vessel should have been able to handle this many people on board, the waves were rough that day and the ship ended up tipping on its side. This is some of the footage from inside the ship.
수연아,
마지막 진짜 팔기 보소. 나도. 우리 이렇게 바다로 헤엄쳐서 이렇게 될 거야. 선아 자, 왜 네가 들고 있어? 나 이제 토할 것 같거든.
This entire video is about 20 minutes long, and throughout most of it, no one really seems to think that they're in any danger. They are convinced that the people around them will all be saved when their rescue comes. Unfortunately, they were wrong, and many people that day were not saved. Coming in at number 5, we have the skeleton at the door. Having a doorbell camera might bring in more stress into your life than you would think. Let me show you this footage, and then you can see how stressful it would be to see something like this happen at the front of your house.
With a piece of tape. The homeowner got an alert that motion was detected on the porch, and upon checking the footage was ready to grab his gun. It's not known what was done while the tape was covering the camera.
You see a creepy skeleton come out of the darkness and then cover up the camera to your door. Now apparently this didn't lead to anything. It was probably just some kids goofing around, but some kids goofing around can make you feel like your home is about to get broken into by the undead. Coming in at number 4, we have a towering flame. This is one of the most famous cases of found footage in the 90s. When you hear the start of this, you will literally think it's a plot for a B movie, but this is really what happened. It was in California, and on the side of the road there was some old cassettes that were found. On these tapes was a recording of a massive blaze. It was a house that had been set on fire. Here's some of the footage from that tape.
Asexual turn-ons.
That is just a taste of the whole thing. The rest of the footage goes on for about 4 minutes. You can hear people laughing, and you can only assume that those were the people who lit the fire. For a while, this was just a tall tale and some creepy footage, but eventually the tape made it onto Unsolved Mysteries, and through this, the people were able to track down the culprits. It turned out to be 2 teenagers who were both arrested and tried for their crimes. Coming in at number 3, we have an oncoming train. This footage is some of the most infuriating and depressing footage on this list. It comes from a movie shoot in 2014 when a crew was filming a movie about Greg Almond. They were on a train bridge and they thought that they had all day to shoot, but there was something that the director didn't tell them. The director had contacted the city to get permission to shoot on the bridge, but they were denied the right to shoot twice. Then the crew had to rush off the bridge while the train was barreling towards them. Unfortunately, not everyone was able to make it out of the way of the train safely. When everything was said and done, the production company was sued and had to pay out over $3 million, and the director was thrown in prison for manslaughter. Coming in at number 2, we have No Through Road. There have been a lot of theories about No Through Road. On the footage, there are 4 English teens driving around late at night until they get lost. Eventually, they get to a dead end and try to work their way back, and their car stalls. Then they are confronted by this.
Jay, just give me the... What are you doing? Turn it back on.
It's not me. I can't.
Turn the bloody lights on!
Now that seems pretty terrifying. What on earth do you think that thing is? It looks like it could have just been a regular man, but the rest of the footage is too gruesome for me to show you here. It cuts some of the previous footage on the camera in between these young men being attacked by this strange figure. Now, when you watch it, I would guess that this is a very well put together project from a few teens who wanted to make a short horror movie. But when you dig deeper into the story, the rumors say that the car was found with blood all over it, and there was only the tape left in the car. And coming in the number 1 spot, we have the Stephen McDaniels footage. This is by far some of the most chilling footage that you could ever see. Stephen McDaniels was a very troubled person. He was classmates with Lauren Giddings, and even though the two barely interacted, he had an obsession with her. Without her knowing, he would creep outside her window and film her. Here's some of that footage. Just seeing that makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. This entire time, Lauren had no idea that there was someone outside her apartment, and it was the last day of school when Stephen would break into her apartment. The police were later notified and found the footage I just showed you on Stephen's computer. Stephen is currently in prison, and there's a good chance he will never be released. And guys, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe because it really helps us out. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this list. Until next time, I've been your host, Che Dorena, and stay classy, San Diego. There can be something And that's how it follows a group of teens and in the struggle, mask and scream, "Steven, stop." The police were later notified and found this footage. The police were